My hands on the Retroid Pocket 2S. This time, there was no pre-order, so it's available for direct purchase. It's essentially the RP5 Pro version, featuring an upgraded Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor, which is why everyone's calling it the RP 5.5. Let's unbox it and take a look. It retails for 1,399 yuan for the 8+1. This processor's overall performance is basically comparable to that of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, with the CPU being slightly stronger and the GPU a bit weaker. Oh, and this time there's a difference in colors. They've added a teal option, which is quite similar to the color of the Switch Lite. It looks very refreshing. The white buttons. Besides this teal color, it also comes in a yellow option, which is pretty much identical to the Switch Lite's color. At the bottom, you'll find the user manual and a USB-A to USB-C charging cable. Below is the RP5 and above is the RP 5.5. See if you can spot the differences. They are in fact completely identical, including regarding the grip, the screen, the buttons, the air intake and exhaust vents, the TF card slot's position, the Type-C port, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. We won't go into extensive detail about these exterior elements, as they are precisely the same as those on the RP5. Their accessories are also consequently identical. Let me show you. This is the RP5's grip, and it simply attaches right here. And click. Yep, it fits perfectly, making it much more comfortable to hold in this manner. It's quite spacious, wouldn't you say? The air intake, the exhaust vent, and other features are all precisely positioned. The button layout is identical, which means that screen protectors are interchangeable, and even the carrying cases are the same, so there's no need for me to demonstrate all those details again. So they look identical, but what about their weight? Let's check the RP5 first. Both are in their bare state without any accessories. The RP5 weighs in at 271 grams. Now let's take a look at the RP 5.5. It's 269 grams. That 2-gram difference is essentially negligible, meaning their weights are practically identical. So are their internal structures the same as well? By the end of this video, we'll disassemble it to show the differences between it and the RP5. As for its performance, exactly how much stronger is it compared to the RP5? Let's take a look at the data. AnTuTu benchmarks will make it clear. You will then plainly see that the RP 5.5 is about 50% more powerful than the RP5. As for the screen, both have a 5.5-inch OLED screen. We tested the RP5 before. It has global DC dimming, and of course the 5.5 is the same. The system has been upgraded this time. We can see it's now on Android 15. For the GPU, the RP5 has the Adreno 650, while this one has the Adreno 740. The CPU architecture differs too. For benchmarks, the RP 5.5's CPU hit 560,000 points, while the other reached 380,000. The GPU scored 350,000 and the RP5 scored 180,000, so the GPU is twice as strong as the RP5's. Now comparing that to the 8 Gen 2's Adreno, their benchmark scores are similar in essence, yet with distinct differences. The CPU in this device is actually more powerful than the 8 Gen 2. Regarding the GPU, the 8 Gen 2 slightly outperforms the Gen 2, but only by a minor margin of about 50,000 points. Now, when we look at the Pocket Flip, its score is significantly higher, reaching approximately 2.5 million points. The one powered by Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. I don't have one readily available, so I borrowed a friend's screenshot. Let's take a look. It has already achieved over 3 million points. However, just looking at its benchmark scores doesn't fully represent its gaming capabilities. Let's directly examine how it runs PC games locally. The frame rate for Resident Evil 7 is approximately 30 frames per second, or approximately that much. Its performance is actually quite comparable to that of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. For the fan, I've switched it to sport mode now, so you can hear what its fan noise sounds like. I just happened to bring my sound meter along so we can actually measure its fan noise. The indoor ambient The noise level is approximately 40 decibels. When running a game, as we observed, the noise was around 56 decibels. Now let's compare that to a competitor's device with its fan at full speed, which registers about 70 decibels. The fan noise control on this device is quite impressive. Additionally, we have a new special guest for this segment. Star, the visual thermometer. Let's see where the primary heat concentration is located. It is mainly on the left side of the device's front screen. On the right side, the heat is concentrated on the far right of the screen, specifically at the ribbon cable. This definitely seems to be the ribbon cable. All the temperatures. It's well within a manageable range, in the low 30s, so it's virtually imperceptible to the touch. Our own body temperature is 35 degrees Celsius, which is our skin temperature, and this device actually registers even cooler than that. Let's take a look at the back. The temperature around the exhaust vent is a bit higher, which is entirely expected, but the air intake area, on the other hand, is quite cool. This should be the processor's location. The temperature here is around 35 degrees Celsius. The two grips are in the low 20s, which essentially means you won't feel any heat at all. It's practically imperceptible to the touch. Now let's proceed to try out our Wii U emulator. I just shared this with all of you yesterday. You can test it out on your personal phone, handheld device, or tablet. It truly delivers a remarkably smooth experience, playing just as smoothly as can be. I feel this is where I can really push the limits. Hey, excellent. So from now on, everyone can truly challenge themselves here as well. While we're at it, let's take a look at the screen. The black bezels on this screen are incredibly well managed. For a handheld console that's 31 inches or larger, the screen's black bezels are basically unnoticeable. This screen also features global DC dimming, providing a very pleasant viewing experience. Now let's take a look at the PS Vita emulator, specifically Uncharted Golden Abyss. This handheld is perfectly suited for playing PS Vita games, especially given that the PS Vita itself is quite small. Let's skip the video. The frame rate here is a constant 30 frames per second. Some friends asked what this on the right is. This is the sidebar, which can monitor the temperature, processor usage, and memory status. PS Vita games may have some texture issues, but that's typical for any phone or handheld you play on. It's an optimization matter. For this particular PS Vita game, we've set it to 4 times the native resolution. Times the native resolution. Let's check it out. For the graphics, it's 4x native, while the 865 was likely only 2x. Next, we'll skip to a large-scale scene. To determine if the frame rate in the top right corner is at its maximum, just observe if it's displayed in white. If it's red, that indicates there are frame drops. When you zoom in, it can sometimes dip to about 57 or 58 frames per second. Even then, it's pretty much a full frame rate. Now, let's take a look at Valkyrie Profile 2. The graphics here are set to 3 times native resolution. Alright, let's move around a bit. The frame rate generally hovers around 60 to 57 frames per second. Turning your head causes it to dip to 57 frames per second. Upon entering the tavern, the scene transition will result in a drop to roughly 55 to 57 frames per second. Some fellow gamers primarily utilize it. Some users primarily use this device to play PSP games. So how high can the resolution multiplier for PSP games go? Let's directly set the multiplier to 10x, pushing it to the absolute maximum. It already exceeds 4K. Even at 10x, there shouldn't be any problems. It consistently holds a stable 60 frames per second. Some users might ask, what's the point of increasing it tenfold? Your screen is only 1080p, so you can't even display that resolution. You won't get that visual effect. However, its Type-C port does support full-featured video output, allowing you to connect it to your 4K television or 4K display to play games. That way, you can fully experience the 4K PSP game effects. I originally intended to demonstrate Moonlight streaming, but my computer's power supply exploded a few days ago and hasn't been replaced. I'll test it out for you another time. Still, it won't be disappointing as it's equipped with the Snapdragon Gen 2. The 8 Gen 2 and Gen 2 processors deliver virtually identical gaming performance. Despite its compact size, it's truly a pocket rocket. We've gone through the games and we've examined the exterior. Now let's finally open it up and see what internal differences exist between it and the RP5. I've brought both units here. Let's identify any differences. If the colors were the same, wouldn't you agree that their internal components would be completely identical? The vibration motors, cooling fans, and heatsink fins, all powered by the same 5000 mAh battery, feature left and right extenders, left and right joysticks, and shoulder buttons. The internal design is completely identical. It must just be the processor and motherboard that are different, but the internal workmanship is quite good. After watching this video, you'll know that the Retroid Pocket Gen 2 is merely a refreshed version of the RP5. Its processor performance is also basically the same as the Odin 2's 8 Gen 2, so in comparison to the RP, when it comes to the 6, its screen does not have a high refresh rate, it's just 60 Hz. If it were up to you, would you choose the RP 5.5 this Gen 2 model or the RP 6? If there's anything else you'd like to understand, feel free to leave a message in the comments section. This video concludes here. Thank you to all who supported it with likes and shares. I hope everyone has a happy day.